Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your founder, Tyler Norton.
Well, welcome to our 2020 Webvention and our 10-year anniversary celebration. We're thrilled to be here with all of you, and as you know, we're joined live by our ASEA associates around the globe. Guys, we have a wonderful day planned for all of you, and we really do feel fortunate to be able to come together this way. I thought yesterday's leadership training sessions were awesome, and I want to encourage all of you to rewatch those sessions. If you were to simply follow the advice that we shared with you from all of yesterday's presenters, I'm utterly convinced you'd reach every objective you have for yourself. Guys, go back and watch those. These are lessons being taught from people who have lived everything they're teaching, and I was so impressed. I want to make sure you take a chance to go back and watch those if you haven't. You know, last year at the 2019 convention in Las Vegas, I opened the meeting with a presentation entitled The Principle and Power of Gathering. In that opening message, I spoke of how gathering is so vital and so important. I shared how our extended Norton family has gathered every year for more than 20 years at Lake Powell for an annual family reunion. Here's a picture of these reunions. These gatherings have been so incredibly important to our family. They've helped us to rehumanize and reconnect with loved ones, with aunts and uncles, with cousins and grandparents, all of us together on a houseboat, if you can imagine. These gatherings have been a time for us to rally around one another, especially around someone in our family who might be struggling, and to show love and support for each other. And they've been a time to remember our identity, who we are, and whom we belong to as a family. This photo of convention a couple years ago is one of my absolute favorites of my dad and I over all the years at ASEA. I'll never forget when Dad and I walked out onto the stage at this convention, just a few minutes prior to this picture being taken. He leaned over to me and said, as we walked out, "This is kind of like Lake Powell, isn't it?" You see, to us, ASEA is family. Any ASEA gathering is like a family reunion for us. I've been thinking, sometimes we lose a little bit of our own identity when we don't make it a priority to gather, when we don't come together with people who may share our beliefs and our vision, or with people who believe in us, with people to whom we feel we belong, and with people who genuinely take interest in our becoming. Without these gatherings, we can lose a connection, not only to others, but sometimes, oddly enough, even to ourselves and with our own identities. Last year, I shared this quote from restaurateur Alice Waters. "This is the power of gathering. It inspires us delightfully to be more hopeful, more joyful, more thoughtful, and in a word, more alive." My friends, gathering is truly a principle. It is a truth. It's a fundamental human need. It's an inalienable right, and it flows naturally from our humanity. It's heritage and legacy to me. It makes us, as this quote suggested, more alive. Now, I could have never imagined then, in September of 2019, how the principle, the power, and the opportunity to gather would be so drastically altered in the coming 12 months. You know, at convention last year, we already had really long-standing plans and investments that had been made to appropriately celebrate our 10-year anniversary as a company this very week in Anaheim, California, with all of you. And let me tell you, we were going to do it in grand ASEA fashion. But as you know, unfortunately, 2020 has had different plans for us. The extraordinary consequences of this global pandemic have altered or canceled gatherings of virtually every kind. Now, social distancing, not gathering, is prevailing. And to make it worse, face coverings and masks are robbing us of the smiles that we so desperately need to share and see and feel from each other. Touch, voice, facial expression, and what about hugs, closeness? So many forms of human energy transfer in less than one short year have gone from the very richest rewards of our existence to the highest risks of our day. And so, unfortunately, it seems it may be for some time to come. Now, these necessary but unwelcome 2020 limitations have actually only served to increase my desire and our desire as a company to gather, to be with you guys, to lift and to strengthen you, and have you do the same for us. For me, this desire has never been greater. And to be sure, as they say, absence does make the heart grow fonder. We miss you guys. In the absence of seeing all of you in person, gathering with you has filled our hearts with excitement and anticipation for a soon, we hope, coming day when we can all safely gather together again. For me, I don't believe I will ever again take for granted just how special it is to have the privilege to gather, especially with all of you, our beloved ASEA family. Now, all of that having been said, I'm grateful that through miraculous technology and with the help of our partners at WebAV, we're able to come together in this Webvention format. This is a format that I'm hopeful is allowing many more people to gather virtually with us throughout the world. Now, as of last night, we had over 4,300 registrants, many of whom are gathered in small groups that are enjoying and listening in today and watching this Webvention. I certainly hope that you can feel of the power of gathering in this new way. Now, in light of all that's transpired in these long last 12 months, I would be remiss if I did not express my concern, and in way too many unfortunate cases, even my condolences, for the many lives affected and taken by this horrible pandemic. I hope and pray that you and your families are safe and getting through this difficult time as best as you can. Let's stay strong. Let's help one another as we get through this difficult time. Now, 2020 indeed marks the 10-year anniversary of our ASEA organization and movement. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years already. For me, to celebrate 10 years of this ASEA movement is so much more than just to commemorate a birth date or even 10 years of attained age. No, for me, this is to celebrate the individual for all of you and collective becoming for all of us of ASEA during those 10 years. For me, it's to celebrate 10 years of Redox dominance and innovation. This is before anyone else in the health and wellness industry was even saying the word. It's 10 years of elevating the conversation around redox cell signaling and overall cellular health. We celebrate 10 years of new opportunity. This is an opportunity open and available to anyone with personal vision to do and to be more, to anyone with an intense desire inside to grow and make a difference, and frankly, for those who come with a willingness to work. We're celebrating 10 years of global expansion from the US into Canada, to Europe, to Mexico, down to Australia, and most recently, to our dear friends in Asia. This is from 1 to 33 countries in just 10 years. And may I say to all of you across those 33 countries and around the world, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to come into your towns and your homes. Thank you for sharing the rich cultures, the food, language, and customs of your beautiful countries. For me to be able to say that I have friends in Hungary or Norway, in Mexico or Malaysia, in Taiwan and Sweden, or to Germany or Thailand, and in all the other countries I've been blessed to visit, is one of the greatest joys and blessings of my life. I like to think that for me, ASEA has made the world smaller and my heart bigger. It's proven to me that we're all so much more alike than we're different. So thank you to all of you, our dear global friends. Thank you for being patient with us as we better learn and understand your different cultures and how to be a strong, true global company. We honor you for your contribution to ASEA and our individual lives over these past 10 years. Now, what else? We celebrate 10 years, not just of global expansion, but also corporate expansion, because as you grow, we grow. From humble beginnings and just a handful of employees to now hundreds of employees and their families. From a small production line behind a few offices to a state-of-the-art 66,000 square foot Redox production facility, located just a couple blocks away from a 50,000 square foot home office. We now operate with regional offices and employees in Munich, Taiwan, Hong Kong, the Philippines, and as of this month, our new office in Malaysia is now open. Yes, as you grow, we grow, and we celebrate that growth. I also think of 10 years of growing and building enduring relationships. This might be one of the most valuable things of the last 10 years. These are relationships that are forged and formed from a simple invitation to come join us. And then over time, through common goals and collective effort, these relationships become as strong, as influential, and as valuable to us as our own family ties, and maybe in some cases, even stronger. We celebrate 10 years of product development and expansion, from our innovative ASEA Redox cell signaling supplement to Renew 28, Renew Advanced, and our nutritional Via line. These are all high impact and high integrity products that we can all be proud to share and represent. Now, we build 10 years and celebrate 10 years of building a defining global ethos and a spirit that is specific, unique, and peculiar just to us. This is an ethos that declares that people and principles and noble purpose are greater than ego gratification and economic achievement. For me, I celebrate 10 years of believing, belonging, and becoming, of dispelling doubt in ourselves and in others, and in creating an environment where all belong and where it's safe to try. We celebrate this environment and culture where the outcome has never been just income. The outcome is overcome. The outcome is become, and then income. We celebrate 10 years of teaching and spreading that ASEA ethos throughout the world at our Ethos academies. I've taught these virtually everywhere we go. We proclaim in these academies that each of us is most influential, most effective, and most true when we see and treat others around us as people. This is regardless of their race, their religion, their gender, their orientation, their ethnicity, their age, or even handicap. Regardless of all of that, for 10 years we have declared everywhere that we have gone that every person we see and talk with and work with is a human being of unspeakable worth and immeasurable potential. This is a person, anyone that we work with, who deserves our utmost respect, our love, our caring, and kindness. Now, I believe this is a message needed more than ever in our world today. And I remind you, this is a message that we have taught and we have promoted for 10 years all around the globe since day one at ASEA. What about 10 years of gratitude? 5 years of that gratitude finding expression and impact in our Advancing Life Foundation, building vocational schools in Ecuador, doing all that we can to eradicate human trafficking, funding and supporting the digging of wells in Cambodia. All of us donating what we can, whether in time or effort or resource, and our hearts to make a difference across the world. We celebrate 10 years of advancing my father, Vertus's vision, and courageously sharing the ASEA story and its singular potential to better people's lives. I celebrate 10 years of retired school teachers or single moms or someone simply looking to make an extra $100 a week who walks across the street to a neighbor in need, say, "I think I have something that can help you." These courageous storytellers are the true miracle and legacy of ASEA. They've led to 10 years of remarkable product impact in countless real people's and real families' lives. These are product stories almost too sacred at times to share, real outcomes, real improvements, and real hope. Now, this 10-year celebration of becoming and retrospection always leads for me to introspection. For me, it brings a feeling of humility and meekness and gratitude. If you stop and think about it, what we are today and where we stand right now is in fact the cumulative effect of millions and millions of hours of dedicated time and effort from hundreds of thousands of people. Some who have been with us since the very beginning. Some may have just joined us, and you're welcome to be here, by the way. We're thrilled to have you. Some who joined for a short time in the past, and may have left us for any number of good reasons, but who, before they left, they made connections and introductions to others who to this day remain a vital part of our ASEA family. We should thank them as well and recognize them for their small but not insignificant contributions. All of that effort towards a common mission and vision is most humbling to me. Now, as you'd imagine, surely this 10-year retrospective traces itself all the way back to my father, our beloved founder, Norton. It speaks to his vision and to the legacy that he launched, and the way I see it, to the torch of that legacy that we all still carry today. The further ASEA goes and the more it grows, the more I marvel at his early vision. I marvel at the risks that he took to launch this company and this movement. I honor him for those early steps, which we all know are most often the hardest. Now, as for me, I must confess, I did not always believe that this was such a good idea in the very beginning. Now, it's true, I was with my father the very first day we ever heard of this Redox technology, at the very beginning. But as you know, it took me a bit longer to believe, belong, and become. Now, in my defense, I have to ask all of you, and I want you to answer honestly, how many of you would invest in a new venture started in the grip of the worst recession since the Great Depression by your dad, who happens to be just months away from turning 70, and it's selling salt water, a saltwater-based product that I might add tastes like pool water from Salt Lake City. Oh yeah, and to top it off, it's a network marketing venture. I've asked that question in a lot of places over the past 10 years. Few people have raised their hands, and yet, Dad, you were right. You were right. As much as it pains me to say as a son, you were 100% right. And for that, I will forever be grateful to you. ASEA has changed my life. It's been a blessing of immeasurable joy and richness to me. Last year, I honored Dad with this quote in my closing presentation. Throughout the centuries, there were men who took first steps down new roads, armed with nothing but their own vision. Their goals differed, but they all had this in common, that the step was first, the road new, the vision unborrowed. There can be no question or argument about the fact that my dad's vision for ASEA was unborrowed. It was his own. It was unwavering back then, and it still is today. He knew in almost prescient fashion that this product would make its way around the globe to the people who need it most. His unborrowed and unwavering vision, coupled with his credible background and career in corporate leadership, launched this legacy company. And right from the beginning, he inspired belief and engagement from others who bought into that vision and what this could become. Some of those people were amidst our earliest employees, and many are still with us here today. These are names you'll recognize. People like Justin Wilson, Kim Marie Larson, Jerem Webb, and Karen Riley, and Chuck Funky. Quite frankly, ASEA would not be what it is today, nor where it is today, without just those 5 wonderful people. But there are others, people who don't get as much field recognition, but who have been with us from the very beginning. You saw Sarah Bailey on the video that launched this, Chris Strout, Frank Santoyo, Dave Wall, our CFO, Andrea Ortiz, and Karina Gonzalez. These are the employees who have been with us since the very early days. They bought into Virtus and the vision of ASEA early on. And from my view, they've truly impacted ASEA's growth and transformation in our first 10 years. Now, as you'd imagine, I have to speak of our beloved founding field leaders, many of whom spoke to us yesterday. I'm so proud to associate with all of them. My dad and I talked last night as I was driving home. He had watched the sessions yesterday, and he said, what an amazing, wonderful, classy group of leaders we've been blessed with since the very beginning. You know who you are. You know the ones that have been here with us from the beginning. They're the builders of ASEA, and we simply would not be here without our incredible field diamonds. In a very real way, my dad's vision inspired and focused their personal visions. And in turn, their vision and commitment has since cascaded to inspire thousands of others in a way that can really only happen in network marketing. So here's an interesting question. Was it Virtus's vision alone that sparked and sustained this movement? Or was it the vision and engagement of our founding field leaders and employees, along with all of you, that's driven this movement for 10 years? Well, as you might imagine, my simple answer is, of course it was both. It's all of us. And this is precisely why the cover of our newest Become magazine attempts to not only honor my father Virtus and his vision as our founder, but if you look closely at this image, you'll see that it's also very appropriately made up of all of you. Our associates, our field leaders, our employees, yes, and Virtus. In this special image, you're all behind him, you're in front of him, and you're even part of him, as he is with and for all of you. So the way I see it, for sure, there would not be a global ASEA movement without Virtus Norton. But I'm pretty sure you would agree with me on that. But guys, I'm equally certain there would be no ASEA founder Virtus Norton, and we would not have this great company today without all of you. And so we thank all of you, from our very first founding leaders in the field to our most recent associate or employee who just barely joined us. Yes, we honor my dad today for all that he's done, but to be sure, this is not his legacy alone. It's yours, and it's all of ours. Last year in my closing remarks at convention, I declared that ASEA would in the future be establishing our own Redox Life Sciences lab to conduct research and development towards further understanding and applying Redox principles. Now, I'm pleased to announce to all of you that phase 1 of this laboratory has been completed and now occupies a prominent space in our ASEA home office. Now, as you can see in this video, we've appropriately named this laboratory the Virtus L. Norton Center for Redox Life Sciences. Dad, we all thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your willingness to launch this company. We can only hope that we can continue to build on the solid foundation that you created. We know it's up to us to take this movement forward into the next 10 years, and we pledge to do so in a manner that honors your name, your legacy, and your vision. Now, I believe that the Virtus L. Norton Center for Redox Life Sciences is a step forward in fulfilling that pledge to you. Thanks, Dad, for all you've done. The first step in setting up a new business, as you guys know, is to create a new business entity. This is a simple step. You organize and form a business entity to conduct business. It involves building and determining the structure that best serves you and your intentions, and then you have to actually file the necessary paperwork with the state. So as you'd imagine, over 10 years ago, we set up the entity of ASEA. But 10 years later, after 10 full years of becoming, the way I see it, we no longer have just an entity. We have something much, much more valuable. And I believe something that makes our next 10 years and our future very, very bright. We now have an identity. As we move into our next decade of growth, we know exactly who we are. We have a very clear and a very unique identity, and we plan to be more bold, declarative, and clear on this identity as we move forward. These, in my opinion, are our strategic advantages. This is what makes us different from everyone else. Now, you've been seeing these identity statements throughout our webvention and leading up to it in certain posts, but I want to more formally introduce you to them right now. So who are we? We are legacy. We are no longer a startup. I want to say that again. We are not a startup. We are through the early stages of business risk that can so easily beset and all too often destroy a new company. After 10 years, we now stand on very, very solid ground. Virtually all of our growth over these past 10 years, from 1 million in revenue to 170 million in revenue, has been financed by our own operations. And this is because my father's Fortune 50 disciplines were brought to this company day one. There were days when I wasn't grateful for those disciplines, but they have yielded results. His decades of experience running legacy companies proved to shape and form our whole business and operating philosophy at ASEA from the beginning. We have no long-term debt of any kind. We're in complete control of our future. We call the shots, and we're in this for the long haul. That's what it means when we say we are legacy. We've reached critical mass. We're seeing the economies that come from scale, from growing. And with that scale, we can now invest in the most meaningful initiatives for your success. Now, we're not perfect, for sure. And we've made and will continue to make mistakes along the way. But I want to challenge you to find a company that's at our stage of growth that is as committed to legacy as we are. Our success will be measured by whether your children or your heirs are receiving commissions long after you've decided to stop your business in terms of daily activity. Now, it's my belief that a company truly taking that long view, as we are in network marketing, is an endangered species. It's rare, it's hard to find, and it's very valuable. So yes, we are legacy. And our CEO, Chuck Funky, will speak more to this distinguishing characteristic of our identity in just a few minutes. So, who are we? We are opportunity. There are no boundaries or borders to what you can earn and become here at ASEA. If you simply want to supplement your monthly income with a modest but meaningful increase, it's here for you, and we will meet you right there. If you have, as I know many have, many years ago, you traded the maybe in your life for the sure thing, and now might feel the claustrophobia of a job that you have, but you never really wanted. If you feel you're worth more, you can be more, you can do more, and yet can never quite seem to be able to scratch the itch of your own potential, then you belong here with us. We are opportunity. Bring us that talent, bring us that desire and your willingness to try, and we will give you a story to tell like no other. A product set that can be found nowhere else in the world, and an opportunity for human impact and financial increase that will redefine your whole life. Yes, here, your business can break through borders because we are opportunity. Justin Wilson will be going deeper into this dimension of our identity and our singular opportunity later today. You will not want to miss what he has to say. So who are we? We are innovation. At ASEA, we're operating at a whole different level. The world is just now waking up to the power of what we've had for over 10 years. Cell signaling, cellular health, genetic pathways, these things will only continue to gain attention and acceptance as we move forward. And we were the innovators of this space. No other company then or now is pioneering these areas of health and wellness quite the way that we are. We know more today about our technology and what it represents than ever before. And leveraging our expanding portfolio of patents, we can see into a future of innovative product platforms that will continue to keep you at the leading edge of what I believe is a tired and crowded wellness industry. We are innovation with a technology that was well before its time, and with that 10-year lead, we will continue to innovate and expand the frontiers of what's possible in wellness as we move into our next 10 years. Whether in product, whether in ethos, whether in opportunity, innovation has always been a part of the ASEA identity. Now, you have to imagine that I'm excited about this next statement of our identity. We are Ethos. This ASEA movement has a soul. If you're here for the first time, I want you to pay close attention to your feelings, because we have our own character, we have our own fundamental values, and they are specific and unique and peculiar just to us here at ASEA. This corporate soul breathes life into our organization. It is our distinguishing spirit, it is our ethos, and we have made the clarifying, the teaching, and the sharing of this ethos a high corporate priority since the very beginning of this company. It is summarized in the overarching belief that people, that purpose, and that principles must always come first. It's reflected in the quest to awaken belief and hope in others, and to create a place of belonging where all are welcome and feel at home. It then calls each of us to assess where we stand and find out who we really are as we begin to reach for what we can become. Our ethos is a multifaceted set of principles and truths and beliefs that we're committed to teaching and promoting around the world. These principles invite the very best of humanity in kindness, gratitude, and compassion from all of us. I think our ethos is reflected best or exemplified best in the work that our ASEA Advancing Life Foundation accomplishes around the world. It's all about lifting and loving others around us without regard for what they can do for us and without expectation of anything in return. Kim has an incredible impact summary and video to share with you later this morning and today that will punctuate the real difference our foundation is making in all regions of the world. And it will be my privilege to close our meeting today sharing an ethos message with all of you. Now, who are we? Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, is what I believe to be the most advantaged and differentiated element of our current and future identity. We are Redox. Redox, the energy that powers all life. ASEA was the very first company to promote the power of redox in service of cellular health. Later this afternoon, our president, Jerem Webb, will take us through a powerful overview of why we are Redox is such an important declaration of our identity. You'll see in his presentation that the world is waking up to what we've known, that the principles of redox affect virtually every aspect of life sciences, and they prefigure a whole new world of opportunity and impact in health and wellness. No other company in this industry, or any other for that matter, has staked a more declarative claim around a more compelling and relevant area of health and wellness than we have at ASEA. Literally no one. And that claim is simply, we are Redox. Now mark my words, the next 10 years will further reveal and affirm that my father's vision to build a legacy company around the principles of not only redox signaling, but a broader future redox movement in biology and wellness was a brilliant strategic move. Redox is much bigger than we currently understand, and we can already see that it's gaining greater acceptance, understanding, and appreciation. My friends, we are sitting in pole position for what will undoubtedly prove to be the most significant new area of health and wellness that we will have seen for decades. The stage is set for Redox, and it's our stage. These declarations of our current and future identity, we are legacy, we are opportunity, we are innovation, we are ethos, and lastly, we are Redox, which overarches all of the others. When they're coupled with the detailed ASEA will statements that I shared in my closing presentation last year, for me, this is where identity, where vision, where strategy and competitive advantage all come together and meet. Guys, this is who we are. This is our identity. And this will be our focus for the next 10 years of ASEA's growth. I think you will agree with me that without doubt, our past has been both favored and wonderful. And without doubt, our future is bright and exciting. And today, we celebrate both in the best way that 2020 will allow. Welcome to our 2020 Webvention.